I'm David Bollier. I'm a independent scholar and activist on the Commons, and I work with the Schumacher Center for New Economics in the US. I think around the late 1990s, I realized that conventional politics and policy and law were just not going to make the kind of transformations that we need to make socially and economically. And I found some other people who felt the same way, and we started to explore the Commons as a different framework and discourse for thinking about economics and for re-embedding the so-called economy in social life and relationships, as opposed to some independent system of just transactions dominated by the state and large corporations. So we set about developing, doing research, talking to people, and creatively thinking about the Commons as a different way of understanding a possible future. The Commons is often thought about as caring and sharing, and it is that, but it's more than that. It's kind of a stable, persistent organization, an institution, a social institution for managing shared wealth and having people participate in doing that, and then having people mutually share in the benefits of their own participation, whether it's managing land, managing digital code on the internet, or urban commons, or taking care of water. There's many, many types of commons in which people collectively take care of wealth that belongs to all of them. Well, we're at let's just say, a philosophical and political dead end in a lot of our thinking. Neoliberal capitalism, allied with the state, has foreclosed a lot of other opportunities. It's elevated oligarchs and made many, many people precarious in their lives. It's not made civil society sustainable. It's not been receptive to the creativity and commitment of civil society. And the left-right spectrum, capitalism versus socialism, doesn't provide adequate answers, especially in the age of the internet, which sends creativity and empowerment to the edges and in some ways democratizes it. So we need to rethink how people can come together and meet their own needs in sustainable ways, and how we can govern ourselves in democratic ways, given the failure of the market state system, as I call it. That means the nation state allied with capital and not with ordinary people. Well, I have a lot of relationships in Amsterdam of people who are quite interested in the Commons. In fact, it's one of the cities with the most robust interest in the Commons, and there's a lot of experimentation going on here. One project involves what I call relationalized finance, a non-capitalist finance that doesn't have outside investors or bankers, lenders, giving money on certain terms that dictate how you have to behave. Commons have a certain autonomy, and they can help finance themselves through pooling their money and maintaining their independence, and then getting what I call transvestment of money from capitalist circuits of value on a one-way street to common stewardship of shared wealth. So that's one project I'm working on here with people in Amsterdam, but there are many others in town, such as the food park on the outskirts of town, a lot of urban commons projects, a lot of digital commons people here in town. So I see a lot of kinship with people in Amsterdam, and I'm learning a lot from their vanguard experiments. It's both easy and hard for people to get involved in commons. You should start with where your passion and talents are, and for what needs you have that maybe you can't solve by yourself, but collectively you might. That could be, a co-housing project, or a community land trust, or mutual aid network, or a neighborhood alternative currency. All of these are feasible and do happen. But it does take energy and commitment. And the truth of the matter is, government or the state, whether at the state, the national or international level, are often hostile or indifferent to the commons. They don't have the law, the finance, the administrative support, the cultural support for developing commons. So right now, it can take a lot of work, even though there are many, many examples out there. I profile dozens of these in my Commoners Catalog for Changemaking book, which is like a whole earth catalog of commons projects. But let's just say, for people who are despairing about the current political system, you need to sort of remake your mind to find a different set of values and ways of behaving and interacting with people. And I think the commons is a way to do that. And fortunately, there are places like Amsterdam where there's enough critical mass of people who want to embark on this journey and explore the alternatives. Well, it's hard to know what's going to emerge as a receptive strategic opportunity, let's say. But as the state becomes increasingly incapable of managing distributed complexity, as its trust and legitimacy declines, as capital becomes more voracious and predatory, colonizing every aspect of life, now with artificial intelligence, so-called, people are going to say that my humanity, my family, my stability, my ability to have a rich human life should take precedence, all of this, over the state and the market, which seems incapable of being supportive of ordinary people. So I think the commons is a place that people can go mentally, socially, practically, to develop these alternatives. But let's just be clear, you're not going to buy this off the shelf. A bureaucrat's not going to just hand it to you. There's an important element of a person becoming involved in developing the commons, because every commons bears the imprint of its context, its history, its geography, its needs, its your fellow commoners. So there's work to be done to make a commons, but the rewards are very rich, not just in an economic or material sense, but in a satisfaction, a psychic, spiritual, ethical way to have wholesome aspirations that you can actually achieve, rather than have to work through the morass of contemporary politics and its corruptions, its manipulations, its bad faith. So that's what I see the commons as helping provide. The cultural dissident and later president of the Czech Republic, Václav Havel, talked about the common, or talked about his dissident world as a parallel polis. And I think the commons verse, as I call it, I think is a parallel polis for building a different kind of society that can have opportunities to challenge the nation state and to put forward practical alternatives, not just ideological or rhetorical ones. So that's what I hope to do in the future myself, is find those opportunities to grow the commons verse.